Alright, good afternoon everyone. Today is Tuesday, the 3rd day of June 2014. Let's see the results today. We were +4 on soybeans, we were -1 on the Russell, we were -9 on crude, and we were +16 on gold. Today it took us 115 minutes and 17 trades to get to our goal for the day. When we closed that final trade, we were up $110 a contract. We took a total of 17 trades today. On the 2 days so far this month, we're up a total of $240 per contract. Alright. That's pretty much it. We took a bunch of trades, so if you had an $8 commission, you're up just a little bit on the month, on the 2 days. If you had a $5 commission, you're up more than 4 times as much. That's how much a difference in commission can make there. Well, a big difference like that. That's a $3 difference. Anyway, that's it. So on the day, we're up $110 a contract. On the month so far, we're up $240 a contract. Last month, we were up $5,300 a contract. The month before that, we're up $7,500 a contract. So you got to start somewhere. All right. That's it for that. Now let me show you guys how to take the free trial. If you want to take the free trial, you would go to. Hang on, just a moment here. I will show you as soon as it loads up. Okay, in the meantime, it just loaded. Okay, I will show you, if you want to take a free trial with us, all you have to do is go to CFRN.net. In the right-hand column of the page where it says name, put in your name. Where it says email, put in your email. And then click on register for a free trial. When you do that, you will be sent a link. This link is a confirmation link. It's going to be sent to the email address that you put in there. So make sure it's a valid email, because if you put in a bogus email or an incorrect email, you're not going to get that link, and we'll never know that you signed up, because we don't know that you signed up until you click that link. All right? But once you do that, then you'll be sent a couple of emails. The first one will say, welcome Tom, or whatever your name is, to CFRN, and it'll have a whole bunch of information in it. The next one will say something like, the subject line anyway, will say, CFRN DT Pro and Ninja Chart setup and trade setup details. Please watch the video. The one that says please watch the video, please watch the video. If you do, you'll be a little bit ahead of the game when you get into the live trading room. The live trading room on your first day can be overwhelming, because I jump right in and my goal is to make the money as fast as I can, get to our goal as fast as I can, and then I slow down and tell you about the trade setups. Today, unfortunately, I got in my first 3 trades were losing trades. So it took a while to make that back, and then there was no volatility, there was no follow-through, so it took a long time to make that back. That's some days are like that. Some days are like that. Some days you eat the bear, and some days the bear eats you. Anyway, let's get into the actual trades, okay? On crude oil today, let's see. On crude, we had a few trades. We ended down on crude. Our first 2 trades on crude were losing trades. See this down close right here? I messed this one up right down here where it closed below the MA1. My stop should have been a break even, and I would have been out of the trade right here after about, 4 or 5 minutes, instead of sitting in it for 20 minutes to get stopped out with a full 8-tick stop. I was minus 8 ticks there. Took the next trade up here, lost that one. I was minus 16 ticks on crude. I slowly started to get them back a little bit here. On this one, we got a couple of ticks, put us at minus 14. Then on this one, we got 5 ticks, and that put us at minus 9. Alright, that's where we ended on crude for the day. I pointed out in the live trading room, this looked like topping action, and it indeed did top out right there. There was one shorting opportunity during the break right in here on the way down. Alright, that was the crude today. Now, let's get into the Russell. The Russell today was our other losing trade that we started out with. It was right here. We only had a couple of trades on the Russell. We had this one right here, long trade, and it stopped us out to the tick, and then it ran up like it should have. Okay. Sadly, it hit us to the tick, but it is what it is. Some days that happens. It ran up into the weekly trading zone, gave us a little opportunity here for a long trade. It just popped up just a little bit, and then it came right back down into the zone again, through the zone, and down in here, I was looking for a down close below this trend line. By the time we got the down close, it would have been right there, and there was no divergence left, so I stayed out of that. All right. Pulled back up over here. There was an opportunity to short nowhere in there. I thought there was someplace that right over here. If you shorted it right here on this down close, it went 4 ticks and came right back up 4 ticks. In and out really fast. Would have been a break-even trade there. And the last trade of the day that I took was right in here. I took a short trade right here, and I took 7 ticks profit on that. All right, I needed 7 ticks to get to the goal, and I took it right there on that trade. You can see it ended right there at 11:24.50, and I just called it 11:25. Since then, there has been one long trade here. Just one long trade right here on the Russell. Actually 2. One right here on the up close off the BBC, and one over here. Okay. That's it. That's all there has been. Alright. Well, that was the Russell. We ended the Russell minus 1 tick. Okay. We had that losing trade to begin with for minus 8, and we had the winning trade for plus 7. And then those other 2 trades were during the break. Alright. Let's get into the gold here. In the gold, we had quite a few trades in gold today. You can see our first trade in gold was this one right here. Now, I messed this trade up too because we had 10 ticks profit in the trade, and I didn't see it because I was looking at something else, and I ended up getting out with only 2 ticks on that. All right, and only 2 ticks profit on that. You can see it collapsed, went down, gave us another shorting opportunity right in here, and this was another one that went 4 ticks, came right back up, and stopped out at break even. That was it in gold for a little while. We missed this move right here, but we jumped in on this one. Let's see, on this one we took 10 ticks profit on this. Alright, that put us at plus 12. Then we took 4 more ticks profit on this, that put us at plus 16, and we were break even on this last trade. I had pointed out that this looks like topping action here, and it indeed was topping action. Okay. That was it on the gold. Now let's jump into the soybeans. In the soybeans, we have a bounce off the BBC right here. I missed this one. I think I had said something about it, but I missed it because I was doing something else. I wish I had gotten into that, but I didn't. The next one was right here. We were already above the MA1, so I had moved my stop to break even when we had 3 ticks profit in the trade. It came back out, took me out at break even. Then it collapsed. Right down in here, we had a 137B. For those of you guys who are partners and know what a 137B is, you could have entered this trade right up here. But the rest of us had to wait for this. I shorted right here on the down close right here, and I took 4 ticks profit on that. I shorted again here and took a break even on that. And I shorted again over here and took another break even on that. So sadly I had 3 break even trades in soybeans and just 1 trade that actually profited for me. You can see it's going down. I was telling everybody in the live trading room that once we break this level right here, once we break this level right here, the 81.5 level, we should see 78, and once we get to 78, if we close below it, we should see 76, and that is exactly where we are right now. Okay? Those of you guys that were in the live trading room, listen to me say that, and that is what has happened. On the ES, there was absolutely nothing on the ES today. I mean, this is the whole ES right here. This is the whole thing. I don't even have to spread the ES out. It was a total mess today. There was one almost trade right here, but it was too close to the weekly trading zone above. Then it got rejected, and it came right back down to the weekly trading zone below, and it just hung out there and didn't do anything. All right? You see right now, it's just a mess. Not even tradable. The natural gas, we took 1 trade in the natural gas in here. We got long on this up close off the BBC right here with a bullish divergence and a blue cycle. We held on to that. It ran up here. We moved our stop to break even, and it came back down, took us out at break even, and eventually put in a higher swing, making you think that there was going to be some opportunity here, but there wasn't. It just didn't do anything after that. Today was a tough day, a day with no follow-through at all, or very little follow-through at all. And I don't have any other charts in here. Nope. That's me. That's it, guys. That's all we had. All right. So on the day, we were up $110 a contract. So far in the 2 days of June, we're up $240 a contract. It's not awesome yet, but it will be by the end of the month. You'll see. It will be. Keep adding on every day. Let's see. To take our free trial, let me go over that one more time again. This was a really fast recap. I mean, I took 17 trades, but there was just, I don't know. It seemed like there was nothing to it today. It took forever to get any points, and some days will be like that. So if you go to CFRN.net, over here on the right-hand side, if you put in your name and your email address, and click register for a free trial, then you'll be sent a confirmation link. You need to click on that, and then you'll get your free trial. The stuff that you'll be sent will look, let me show you what it looks like. Hang on a second. Let me show you what this looks like. When you are sent the free trial information, let's see. It will look something like this. Okay, it'll look like this. It'll give you the link and the password to get into the live trading room. It'll have all these little videos that you can watch. Bob Z, CFSR, right here. There's one for you. It's got all this information. Now, this is really old. We need to update that. That's from 2012. Those numbers are from 2012. So we do need to update those. But the rest of the stuff is, the same as it was in 2012. It's all the same. There's some good videos in there, some good content. But all you have to do is the daily radio program, that's this one. Just click right there to register there. And the live trading room is right there, so click there to register. Okay? That's all there is. And let me just see. Yeah. That's it, guys. All right. So if you are on the free trial, you will be getting this, and let me see one more thing. Hey, Jim. No, Jim. These are soybeans. $12.50 a tick. $12.50 a tick. Yeah. So this is $50, not $40. Okay, it's $50, not $40. It's all automated. I don't, the formulas are built in. So right here, 436 times 12.5, and this one is 436 times 10, 436 times 10, 436 times 10, and 436 times 10. So it does the math for me. I don't have to do it. That's okay. So this is the spreadsheet. Everybody that's on the trial right now will be sent the spreadsheet and the rule sheet, okay, today, in an email that tells you what it takes to become a partner, okay? That will all be coming to you at some point today. I'm going to slide all this off, and that's it. All right. I guess we can head out to Vegas. If nobody's got any other questions, then we can head out to Vegas. Vegas, Las Vegas. Let me just see if we can head out to Vegas. No, we can't head out to Vegas yet because Vegas isn't here yet.
Vegas isn't here, man. All right. Well, we'll take a look at, let's see, are there any questions in the chat box? Let's look at that first.
Gary says, how was the last seminar? I think it went really well. These are the folks that were at the last seminar. See, that's everybody that was at the last seminar. Jada, Ken, Jim, Jason, Dave, John, Jim, Jeff, Ken, and John, and me. That's everybody.
It's a regular gun show.
That's it.
All right.
That was us.
Cool. That's how it went. And you're not going to do the Father's Day one, right?
I don't think so. There's just not enough interest in it right now. I think,
Yeah, people want to be home with their kids or their dads
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. Yep, we'll do another one soon. I'm thinking Chicago might be, the summertime in Chicago might be the time to do one there. So that might be the next place. We'll see.
I want to just do one, like the WWDC, with thousands in attendance, and those who can't fit into the arena will watch streaming via video. And when we're done, I leave the keys on the desk, man. And I'm out of here. I'm clogging out.
Yeah.
Low unto the end of the age. I'm done. So, speaking of, let me see. Yeah, you're right. On the S&P, there wasn't anything there. There was nothing happening.
No. No. I mean, look at it. It's a mess.
My charts are a little different than yours. They're scaled a little differently. So let me pop this up.
Okay.
This is a video from last night, guys. I was simply showing a trade setup. Okay. This was from yesterday morning. Let me shrink it up a little bit. Bearish cross. Every one of our trades always begins with a cross. Something poetic in that. It's either a bullish cross or a bearish cross, not an old rugged cross. Totally different crosses. Okay? Think of it, just remember that. Every trade that we take begins with a cross. Either bearish or bullish. This is going back to yesterday. We had a bearish cross. At what time? 6:30 a.m. Eastern, Pacific, which is 9:30 a.m. Eastern. That's Wall Street time. 9:30 right here. Ding, ding, the opening bell. So what do we need? We need the bearish cross for the short trade. Bullish crosses lead to long trades. Price pulled away from this green line, which we refer to as the BBC. That's not top secret code. It just means bull-bear cross. If price crosses above it, that's bullish. If price crosses below it, that's bearish. Bull-bear cross. So, price is below the BBC, and then price pulls back to touch the BBC. Now, that happened at 9:34 a.m. Eastern. I'm not sure why Michael didn't take that trade yesterday because everything was lined up. But as best I recall, price pulled away again. Well, that's a fact. We can see that. Price pulled away again, and then price pulled back again. And this one happened at 6:38 Pacific, 9:38 Eastern. Now, the only thing that changed is on this pullback, if we look straight down, we see that this little line down here, the cycle line, which looks deceptively like the CFMA1, but they are powered by a completely different set of mathematical formulas. So this one down here, even though we still have what we call bearish divergence, and we're talking about divergence inside of the indicator itself, not divergence between the indicator and price, but divergence inside of the indicator. Now, what does that mean? It means that the cycle line is either below or above the green line. Over here, it's above the green line. Doesn't matter what color it is, it's above. That's bullish. Once it gets below the green line down here, that's bearish, okay? However, when it turns blue, that means we've lost just a smidgen of our definable edge. And so before we go ahead and take the trade, we have to somehow make up for that loss of that smidgen of our definable edge. And so we go back up here and say, hey, market, show us that you really do plan on going down. And to do that, we draw a trend line from the swing low back up to the BBC, and typically where we would need to touch and then have a down close. Now, down close, that's fancy talk for a red candle, okay? What we want is we now want a red candle that closes below this little trend line we drew. So instead of entering on this candle, we're forced to enter on this candle. Now, this candle gave us our down close, so we sell the open of the next candle. The next candle opened at 1132.70. There was a 4-tick drawdown to 1133.10. Remember, we risk 8 ticks on every trade, but that's it. Only 8 ticks. 4-tick drawdown, and then price began to decline, which is good because we're in a short trade, and came right on down, gave us our 10 ticks. Of course, Michael, the way he's handling the trade is once price moves 4 ticks in our favor, he's bringing the stop to break even, and then he continues to trail it. And you can just see, think of this as the stop, and we're trailing, and we're trailing, and we're trailing, and we're trailing, and then, boom, price pops back up, takes us out with our 10 ticks. And there you go. And that's kind of how that went down yesterday to the very best of my memory. But did price stop there? No. Actually, the entry again was at 1132.70. Price continued all the way down to 1124.40. So this move on the Russell yesterday was 8.3 points, which is actually 83 ticks because there's 10 ticks in every point. So this move, let me shrink it up a bit so you can see it all in one screen. From here to here, the total move, 83 ticks at $10 a tick, $830 per contract. If you're a 10-contract trader, you can easily do the math on that early morning move, and that was completed by 6:49 or 9:49 Eastern. Now, once again, we did not take all of this. We took just this little bit up here that gave us our daily goal. I rang the bell just like this, and we were done. We were done, except we kept trading. We continue to trade real money in real time in front of real people for the entire 2 hours. Now, some days that's fortunate, and some days that's unfortunate. And you never know, which way fortune is going to approach you, head on or with the un, because some days you have a great opening trade, and you can trade it right back to the market. You and the market are just pushing money back and forth across the desk at each other, and it's like musical chairs, and when the music stops, is the money on my side of the desk or on the market's side of the desk? That's why we really do believe in having that daily goal, establishing what that's going to be, and just because for us it's $100 per contract per day, that doesn't have to be your number. But we still encourage you, whoever you are, if you're not a partner, to try working under those parameters for a day or two, or give it a week and see how that feels. Because maybe now you're trading bell to bell, and some mornings you have a great morning, and then in the afternoon you give it back, or you end up at break even. Try it for a week. Call it a vacation. Come in, sit down, establish a goal, make the goal, and then stop. And see at the end of the week, if you come out any better at all, maybe it's the same. Maybe worst case is you just come out the same, but it turns out you have a lot of extra hours for this crazy little thing called life. Now, as one of our partners put it the other morning in the live trading room, He says, I've only been at work for 10 minutes and I'm done. I feel a little guilty. Don't feel guilty, because that pendulum swings both ways. There will be days when you can get it done in one, and there will be other days when you really have to grind it out, for maybe even more than just a couple of hours. Maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe the whole day. Maybe you have to go into overtime. I don't know. But as long as you're able to make that $100 per contract per day, and you're able to do it in 10 trades or less, and then you're able to remain consistent with that, guess what? You're destined for greatness. Hey, Mike, I got to go to the door for just a second. Can you say, I don't know, quirky, funny, deeply relevant things until I get back? I'll make it as quick as I
can certainly try.
Okay, all right.
Right.
I'll be right back.
So where did Dwayne leave off? He was talking about days that it takes a long time to get things done. Hang on, I'm trying to bring this stuff over to me, but it does not seem to be letting me. Here we go. I'll show you my monitors again. There. Alright. I took the charts back. You believe the S dropped about 8 points at the same time. Your range bars appear unusual to me as the open of a bar equals the close of the prior bar. Most range bars I've seen. No, there's only one range bar that I've ever seen that actually displays the one tick beyond DW. I mean, it does require, like on this one right here, it requires the bid to bid up to, like, let's say this bar right here closed at 78.75. It requires the bid to bid up to 78.75. Okay? And then it goes to the next bar and starts the next bar with the bid at 78.75 and the ask at 79, sorry. Okay, on the soybeans right here, an up close right there is a long trade at 80 and a quarter. Is that right? 80 and a half, 80 and a quarter, 80 and a half. 80 and a quarter right there. Bullish divergence, all that stuff. I just jumped in at 80 and a half. Okay. Where should the soybeans go from here? Well, they should go up here to 84 is where they should go. The green line should turn up and get up into the cycle, and you should see it move up to 84. Now, whenever we put a trade on, a trade has 8 ticks risk. Every single trade we ever put on has 8 ticks risk. Okay? Our rules for moving the stop to break even, 4 ticks profit in the trade or close above the MA1. This is the MA1. So obviously 4 ticks profit is going to happen first, or we'll get stopped out. But you can see right now, our stop is right down here, 8 ticks away. And what we're anticipating is the green line down here is going to move up into the cycle. Okay. If we get an up close on this bar, it would also be a 137B trade. For those of you guys who are partners who know what 137B is, you may want to hold off and wait till the up close happens and then jump into it. But okay, George, I'll type you a little message in a minute about that. You could have reaped, you still can reap a big benefit out of that, but I think you know what I'm talking about, the referral fee. Okay, so I'm long here on the soybeans, and what I'm anticipating is that the green line is going to turn up and get up into the cycle. Now, this is a big move for no apparent reason that I know of, but okay, there's the up close, 81 and a quarter, and I'm in at 80.50. It needs to get up to 81.50. When it gets up to 81.50, I'll move my stop to break even. Okay? If it just ticks on 81.50, I'll move my stop to break even. That's what I'm looking for. Okay? And there it is. So my stop's at break even. I'm taking off my original stop. Now I'm just going to lock in a little bit of profit. Now the way that I trail my stop is I trail it behind the MA1 or behind the black step line, whichever is closest to price. Right now we're not on the other side of the MA1 yet, but as it approaches the other side of the MA1, as it closes on the other side of the MA1, I'm going to bring my stop up pretty close here. When the green line down here gets right up into the cycle, as the green line gets up into the cycle, it's due to pull back again. So when that happens, I trail my stop right behind price. Okay, right now I just got one little tick locked in, but we're sitting at plus 5 right now. Okay, it's sitting at plus 5. I could take 4 off right here. I could have taken 4 off. That's $50 a contract. And it just came down and popped me out at break even. Now, something significant about this, something worth noting. Right here, it went up to this level. It needed to close above that level. It got rejected pretty quickly from that level. It needs to close above that level. I think as soon as it closes above that level, you're going to see it go right up to 84, if it closes above that level at all. Yeah, that's it. That's the whole thing, guys. Pretty easy, huh? Bullish cross, pull away from the BBC, tested the BBC, up close, we got long. We had 6 ticks profit in the trade. Actually, we had we were in at 80.5, and it went up to, it tagged 82.5. So there was 8 ticks profit in the trade at one point. It moved pretty quickly up there though, and then it came back off it. George, when did you do that? Was it just recently, or was it yesterday or something? Hey, Jeff.
Why do you speak of expecting the green oscillator line to go up to the top rather than price to go up? The green line will only go up if price does, right?
Yes. Yes, that is true. Now, when these things work in conjunction, they work together.
It's just like when you exhale, what do you expect to do next?
Yeah, inhale.
Inhale. Yeah,
So when it works together here like this, what we expect is the green line to get up into the cycle. The thing that you don't know about price is when to expect it to stop, right? You don't know when to expect it to pull back. All right? Using the green line in the slingshot, as the green line gets down into the cycle like this, that's when you expect it to pull back. All right? As it gets up into the cycle like this, you expect it to pull back. When it pulls back, price is doing the work. Price is pulling back. Okay? So, like right here, I still expect it to get up into the cycle. It just didn't do it all at once. Yeah. Price is the thing that makes it go. That's true. Price is the thing that makes it go. The thing that you use the green line for, 1, is to let you know that price is ready to go, and 2, to let you know how far it should go. Now you can look at price action and determine, that's when I draw these boxes, and determine where it's got to go to continue the trend. That's why I draw the boxes like that. But beyond that, beyond the box, when the green line gets up into the cycle, price has brought the green line up into the cycle. And when it gets up into the cycle, that's when this becomes pretty important to you, because that's when it usually pulls back. Way more often than not, when the green line gets up into the cycle, you're going to see some kind of a pullback. Okay, or down into the cycle, you're going to see some kind of a pullback. All right.
Jeff, your point is well taken. In fact, I really wish everybody would latch onto that. Everything that you see on a chart is a shadow of what has already happened. Even the price candles themselves. You have this group of traders and trading machines all around the globe. They're processing information. The people and the machines are processing information, making buying or selling decisions based upon the information that they've processed. They take that action, and the action they take is then reflected up on the chart or on the scoreboard. It's kind of like, if you want to slow it down to slow motion, if you've ever watched a cricket game or one of those games where they make the play, they score the point, and then the guy goes over and he takes the big wooden thing and he hangs it up on the scoreboard. I mean, we get used to, in modern sports, the electronic scoreboard where the second the field goal is kicked, bang, it shows up digitally on the screen. But if you've ever watched one of those older style sporting events, and I'm sure they still do it with some, like in London or in the United Kingdom somewhere, where the guy goes over and it's kind of a big deal. He takes that wooden square with the number on it and he hangs it up, and so this team now has this many points. That's what a price candle is. See, buyers and sellers, they're all making all these decisions and then taking action. And now we see a reflection or a shadow of their action in a price candle. Some people want to say, well, you know, the only thing that's in real time is the price. You know, everything else lags price. Well, price itself lags the action of the buyers and the sellers. And their actions actually lag their thought processes. So, you know, how far can you split the atom? I don't know. There was some guy in the UK, speaking of, the other day, he was arrested. He had assembled all of the chemicals necessary to try to split an atom in his kitchen. Luckily, he failed. It didn't work. There was a big mess on the stove, but everybody's okay. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't hear about that.
The article didn't go into detail about how he got a hold of these various things that ordinary mortals, I don't think, are supposed to be playing around with. He didn't have one of the big things you have to, what is that thing you have to split an atom splitter, centrifuge or something like that? Oh, a particle accelerator. Was his particle, I don't know. It was the article. I read it twice because at first I thought it was just like a little funny humor piece, but it really happened, and he really was trying. Apparently he didn't really know what he was doing and that he needed a particle accelerator. He thought just mixing these chemicals, I guess, in some way was going to do it. Or as Jeff, suggests, maybe he was going to use, an Oster blender, or maybe he had a Waring blender. I don't know, but yeah. Oh my. Where was the article? Just Google it. Google Robert Man attempts to split atom in kitchen. Here, I'll do it. And then we'll talk about everything you need to know at WWDC. Man attempts. Let's see what men have attempted to do. Well, I've got to spell it right. Man attempts to hug a lion. Okay, that's pretty popular. Man attempts to split atom in kitchen. Look right there. See that? Man attempts to split atom in kitchen. Sweden. Okay, that's where it happened. All right. Swedish man arrested after trying to split atoms in his kitchen. The Swedish man has been arrested after attempting to split atoms in his kitchen, claiming that he was only doing it as a hobby. Well, that's quite a hobby. Richard Handel said he had the radioactive elements in radium, I'll skip that one, uranium, in his apartment in southern Sweden when police showed up and arrested him on charges of unauthorized possession of nuclear material. Oh, this article's a couple years old. Somebody was just recirculating it. But anyway, it was in the Telegraph, and it did happen almost 3 years ago. He had tried for months to set up a nuclear reactor at home and kept a blog about his experiments, describing how he created a small meltdown on his stove. Only later did he realize it might not be legal, and sent a question to Sweden's radiation authority, which answered by sending the police. I've always been interested in physics and chemistry, Handel said, adding he just wanted to see if it's possible to split an atom at home. Police raid took place in late July, but police have refused to comment. If convicted, he could face fines or up to 2 years in prison. Although he says police didn't detect dangerous levels of radiation, he now acknowledges the project wasn't such a good idea. From now on, I'll stick to the theory, he said. Oh, you can't see my chart, can you?
Didn't you take them back? Oh no, I took them.
You took them back.
I took them.
So I'm reading this article here. Anyway, just so that everybody can see the article. Here is a Swedish man arrested after trying to split atoms in his kitchen. This is something you have to watch out for. I've learned this here of late, and I didn't notice it on this one. This was originally published on the 3rd of August, 2011. Okay? It's a real deal from a real newspaper. It really did happen. but somebody had recirculated it probably in a little thing like over here just to get some traffic because it's such a bizarre thing that someone would try to do that. So a note to self, I keep telling myself to remember to do this. Every time you come across an interesting piece of news, look at the date line. See when it really happened. Doesn't change the fact that it's interesting and amazing and kind of weird that somebody would try to do that. Apparently, he's a smart guy because he knew he needed these things and he knew how to gather them, but somewhere one of the wires just wasn't quite, I don't know, something wasn't wired properly that he thought it would be a good idea to go ahead and try to do that. So did David ever show up?
Yeah, David's here.
He's here. Did you already talk to him, or?
No.
I'm right here.
Oh.
There he is.
See that?
There you go.
Good morning, Dwayne.
Hey, how are you?
Hey,
Yeah,
David.
I'm sorry. I'm good. How are you? Hope everything's going well out there and your house is
Yeah.
nice and cool.
We went looking for you earlier and you weren't there, so we decided to just.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought maybe you had a little further to go, and I took a call, and then I kind of got off it.
No problem.
So,
No problema.
well, there you are. And so, yeah, we have quite a bit to talk about. A man trying to split atoms in his own home.
Yeah, that turns out that was, you heard, 3 years old, but yeah,
Yeah.
he really did try to do it. Yeah, he really did. Have you ever done that?
No, I try to avoid that, actually. Yeah, I'm...
I don't think my stove's big enough.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, kitchen nuclear physics, you know. It's
Yeah.
probably, I don't know.
Even I don't do that.
Yeah, even you know, if Mike doesn't do that, then. So,
Well, let's see. David, any news on your end? Anything you want to talk about?
well, no, I'm just sitting here trying to identify the atomic coordinates of everyday solids. No.
Wow. You said that like you
I
actually know what it means. That's good.
No, I don't know what it means.
I don't. I'm be honest, I don't. But you sounded real good saying that.
Well, you know, I can sound good. I may not be that good, but I sound
Yeah.
good. Let's see. No, one of the things I've mentioned so many times regarding the markets, somewhat regarding the markets here, is that our markets tend to rally for the past 5.5 years on bad news, a scandal or some other type of bad news. And indeed, this breakout is kind of the, you could associate this breakout with the prisoner swap. This is the prisoner swap breakout, which has now really turned into a very controversial subject. I've said before, we don't have to go into the details, but I've just said so many times, everything this administration touches explodes. They just don't know how to do something without turning it into another scandal. This is like scandal number 6 or 7 that's running simultaneous that they've got. Benghazi, the NASA, the gun running, the IRS thing, the hospital thing for the vets, and now you got a prisoner swap where we give back 5 of their top greatest bad guys for one of our guys who may in fact be a deserter and maybe a sympathizer to their side, and may even have wanted to join their side, and whatever else the news is going to be. I don't want to discount that they may have that wrong, and so that's just something that I had read, but it's just one thing after another. I mean, can somebody name something this administration does that doesn't explode into a scandal? And then there's always the cover-up, and the cover-up is worse than any other part of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it really is. I've never seen anything like this. I have never in my whole adult life seen anything like what we're seeing with almost weekly now, with some new thing every couple of weeks. I don't know. Anyway, the market seems to like it, is what I'm trying to say.
Market has no problem with it, yeah. I guess we should be as forgiving as the market.
Yeah. Well, the market is not only forgiving, but it's liking it. It's working with it. So,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yesterday, we talked about the WWDC, and I didn't get to watch any of the keynote addresses, but they did talk about a couple things that are kind of big. iOS 8 is coming out, which I don't think I'll upgrade to because I still don't like iOS 7. I put it on my wife's phone the other day. She also doesn't like iOS 7 along with the rest of the world. Have you upgraded your phone to iOS 7?
No, I haven't. I think, honestly, I'm probably strangely in a similar position because I've seen people that I've seen, just got a text from Bert. Anyway, I've seen other people that have it, and they seem to be using it very well. But when I look at it and try to use it, there's some things that have been switched and flipped around. And I think, honestly, I'm just very comfortable with the phone that I have. And I realize that when their new phone comes out, I certainly am going to be interested in having that phone because it has a larger screen and so on. But, you know, I had upgraded. I was one of the Apple customers that I talk about. I've upgraded every time from the very beginning to the 3, to the 3S, 4, 4S, and so on. And I liked whatever incremental improvements there were and so on. But at this point with the 5S, I felt like I didn't do it primarily because I didn't want to switch the operating system and have to fool around with it. And I didn't much even really like the look of it as much as I like this one. I don't like the bubblegum colors and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think that
Now,
can all be changed, but...
It is. It's highly customizable. You can go in and really, you know, switch it up and change it. But
yeah, that's good. That's what I thought.
I haven't. I've learned to live with it, which is unfortunate because previously I really liked the look and intuitive feel of my iPhone. And so I've gone from really liking it to learning to live with it. I mean, I still enjoy the technology and all the things that it can do.
Market.
It's just the look of
Completed.
it is not what it once was.
$319.80 new line upside target. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
That's better, right? The keyboard in iOS 8 will finally provide predictive typing. Now, this isn't where it just auto-suggests the word that you're currently working on and inevitably gets it wrong. The keyboard will finally provide predictive typing, which will guess your next word and can adapt those suggestions depending on who you're talking to. There will also be third-party keyboards available. I mean, that's artificial intelligence or something disguised as it.
No, artificial is the right word. It is.
Yeah. Mail adds a number of gestures like swiping an email to delete it. Messages will offer location sharing, the ability to mute a thread, and a tap-to-talk feature that lets you send audio snippets. Now that's good. You're sending an email to someone and you really want to get a point across, or you just start sending them an email and you tap this and you say what you were going to type because you want them to feel the emotion, whether it's good or you're upset or, you know, you're being very stern. I don't know, whatever you're trying to convey. Active notifications allow you to respond to notifications without leaving the app you're in. That's good. Siri enhancements include song identification with Shazam. I just hope they fixed Siri. iCloud Drive can share files between your Mac, your iOS device, and Windows. Oh, and Windows. With family sharing, up to 6 family members can share iTunes content across devices. When new versions of iOS launch in the fall, they're typically accompanied by new hardware. The new operating system is called Yosemite, as in, I guess, Yosemite Sam, or maybe it's Yosemite National Park. They ran out of big cats, so they had to go to something else. A redesigned user interface moves OS X towards a cleaner look, similar to the appearance introduced in iOS 7. If you have an iPhone, you can place and receive calls from your Mac and even receive text messages from non-iPhone users. Notification Center has a day view, which can be extended with widgets from the App Store. Spotlight now has a search bar centered in the middle of the screen and offers autocomplete guesses. Safari is redesigned with a slimmer menu bar, and AirDrop works between iOS and Mac. This was the one here that I found interesting, and I know many people will find it invasive. The concept is similar to Apple's Passbook app, the iPhone's virtual pocket for all things like movie tickets, coupons, etc. The Health app will be able to pull in data from other third-party apps such as Nike to keep all your health-related information in one hub. Now, this doesn't go into the detail, but it will have the ability to measure your blood sugar, your blood pressure, your heart rate, and if anything gets out of whack, more so than it should be, it will automatically. Now, you've given it permission to do this. You've programmed in your doctor's telephone number, whatever the case might be, or the hospital that you've just been released from. And your phone is monitoring these things, and if something gets too far out of whack, it will notify your doctor. Mm-hmm. An alarm will go off in your doctor's office. Williams must be on the radio again. His blood pressure just shot up over 180. So send somebody out there with something to put under his tongue. However they're going to do that. But they really sold it short in this little article here. It's kind of a big deal. Maybe clicking that gives you a little more. No. There's all kinds of health stuff. So anyway, it's kind of a big deal. But some people will the government? Some people will ask, well, won't the government ever maybe use that to monitor you or something? Are we getting into that world where things? Why won't this go back? I've clicked it nicely a couple times. There we go. All right. Then the HomeKit. The HomeKit platform allows users to control locks, lights, cameras, doors, thermostats, plugs, and switches via one iOS 8 app without the need for multiple apps to control each device or function. Although iOS 8 doesn't come out until the fall, the beta test available now will encourage developers to create software and products that will work with HomeKit. So that's kind of neat. Widgets in the notification center. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I say, of course, it's really good stuff. And I don't know, you must be aware of this. The cat's already well out of the bag with regard to them being able to monitor us. The NASA scandal. Yeah, right. I mean, every phone call that you have is monitorable. Your GPS locates where you are. Your cell phone locates where you are. Your email is being read. I mean, I don't know what more they need to do.
I guess if they know what my heart rate is and my blood pressure, I guess that doesn't that's no big deal either.
No, that's no big deal.
Really. But now it didn't say in the other article I read how it's going to read your blood sugar. I don't know if there'll be just like a little device that sticks into the headphone jack, where you still prick your finger, or if it has managed to move beyond needing to do that in order to check your blood sugar. Because I remember watching my grandfather do that, and it was kind of a, I mean, people get used to it after a short period of time, but nobody likes it, and they're always trying to come out with new devices that make it less painful. Synced photo editing. You'll be able to sync your app. When you take a picture, if you edit it on your phone, it will show up across all devices as the edited version. They've got 2 new iCloud plans, 20 gigs for 99 cents a month, 200 gigs for $3.99 a month. That will make them a considerable amount of money right there. And 200 gigs just won't even be nearly enough for a lot of people, I guess. The revamped App Store 75 billion apps have been downloaded. Developers will be able to offer multiple apps under a single bundled price. They'll also be able to post videos on their app's description page, letting them describe and demonstrate how an app works to potential buyers. That is much needed, much needed. Going in there trying to find an app and to find the right app, I mean, if they're free, it's not a problem. You download it, you try it. If it doesn't work the way you needed it to, you just delete it. But if you have to pay for it to find out how it really works, that gets aggravating very quick. And I know because I've gone through that, trying to find apps that they give you one little snippet of information. The developer's homepage on their website doesn't give you much more information, and you're left wondering, will this app do what I think it is saying it will do? And so you blow the 99 cents or the $1.99 to find out that no, I probably have 5 to 10 apps that I bought that I don't use at all because they sounded like they did one thing, but it turns out they did something else, or they didn't do the one thing they were supposed to do. They didn't do it well. And so I imagine there's some type of refund line you can go stand in, or some process that you can go through and request your money back. But again, because it's 99 cents or $1.99, most people probably don't go through the hassle. I don't know. So, I mean, some cool stuff, but today's only Tuesday. The event runs all week. We're still waiting for them to bring out the heavy artillery and go, all right, this is it, guys. This is why we're streaming this event live to the whole world, because we need everybody to see this at once. So, will that be today, tomorrow? I've heard a lot of speculation that it'll be Thursday. Why Thursday? I don't know. That's just what the speculator meter read is right now, Thursday. So, and other than that, David, I don't think I have any big news. Guys in the chat room, is there any big news? Tell me. We'll talk about it. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, while they're considering if there's any big news, a couple things we had talked about yesterday, all of us did a little bit about, that this week appeared to us on Sunday as potentially slowing in number of indications and so on, partly because normally on a Sunday, even though the markets aren't trading, we can usually find something interesting that's setting up and so on in Williams Edge, in our product. So, and you had mentioned something that you had talked about, the markets possibly being a narrow range week in the S&P or something along those lines.
Right.
We're seeing a pretty slow market across quite a number of markets this week, at least in terms of the number of potential trading, at least for us, trading indications. So that's what we're dealing with this week. It's a slowdown, probably not really necessarily related to summertime, but it could be, but it also is maybe the calm before the storm. I mean, the market is in a very good position here, very strong. But for us, there are some dates that are coming up that we think are important. I mentioned yesterday the June 4th, and plus or minus a day. So we think we're inching in on critical territory for things to happen. But sometimes the markets just stay quiet for an extended period of time. We've gotten so used to the big moves and the turns and the ups and downs that this is just a couple of days of this, and people are already, scratching their head. But I do believe that this week has some very important dates, essentially the June 4th, plus or minus a day, and we're in the minus day right now. So it's very interesting, and we'll talk about the S&P when we get to it here. But just in general, just that a lot of things are pretty quiet right now. It's not as active as it was, in a number of different markets. So.
Yeah, we've talked a couple times now about the latest Apple acquisition, which is Beats, which is the headphone company and the streaming music company, and we talked about pricey headphones. I mean, to me, $180 for headphones to me that seemed like a tremendous sum of money, again, because I, probably don't have that finely tuned ear that can really notice the difference. Well, check this out. Headphones that cost more than your mortgage payment. They come from a company called Abyss. The pitch. With the announcement of the sale, Beats Electronics, which includes Dr. Dre's Beats line of audio products to Apple for a cool $3 billion, high-end headphones have been in the news lately. But why settle for a pricey pair of Beats headphones? The top-of-the-line Pro model goes for $450, when you can listen in luxurious style with a pair that runs in the mid-4 figures. Now,
well, there you are.
They didn't even try to make it look, it looks cool. Certainly that's the argument the folks behind Abyss headphones make when it comes to the AB1266 model, just $5,495, which they call the finest instrument for musical reproduction, and they've even trademarked those words. They say there isn't one particular detail that makes the Abyss stand out from the rest. Rather, it's the complete package, which represents the culmination of some 5 years of research from a team of dedicated audio pros. The founder was behind the audio cable brand JPS Labs. I remember when the HD TVs first came out, and they wanted to sell you the HD cable, the monster cable. They told you at the store, if you don't buy this cable, you're not going to have real HD. And they had one cable that was $10 and another cable that was $100. Now when you go into those same stores, they've kind of been forced to tell you that the $10 one works just as good as the $100 one. So, but design is one thing, construction is another. The Abyss is assembled by hand, the company's upstate New York headquarters. Each pair takes up to 15 hours to build. Of course, you can't enjoy a 4-digit pair of headphones without the proper accessories. The team says there's something of a value aspect to these headphones in that everything extra is included in the price, from the leather man bag carrying case, that's what the Abyss folks call it, the man bag, to the heavy aluminum headphone stand, laser engraved with the Abyss logo. It's not just the headphones you're getting. You're getting a stand and a bag. Now, if you ask audio pros, they'll say you don't need to spend that much money to guarantee yourself a quality pair of headphones. The techie review site CNET gives the thumbs up to many headphones for under $300 and even for under $100. Key to shopping around, audiophiles explain, is to first understand how you'll be using the headphones. There are many different types, many different applications. The guy writing this says that he himself owns a few different headphones for different situations, including a simple $20 generic pair of earbuds for use at the gym and a pricier, noise-reducing Bose pair for some quiet time on a plane. I'll tell you, one of the best set of earbuds I ever bought was on a clearance rack at a grocery store for $5. I mean, they just sounded great, and they had a microphone built into the cable so that you could make phone calls. I ran over it with a vacuum cleaner. Doesn't work anymore, but for its lifespan, man, I sure got my $5 out of that. So who's buying $5,000 headphones? According to the head guy at Abyss, quite a few head-fi fanatics. The company has sold more than 200 pair since the brand's introduction a year ago. And as the Abyss team readily notes, many audio publications and sites have sung the brand's praises. I believe the Abyss AB1266 has established a new benchmark for top-tier headphone performance. Still, Kubinski understands that not every audiophile can afford his headphones, which is why he plans on releasing cheaper models in the years to come. You'll be able to get a set or a pair or whatever you call it for the HD 800 model will sell for $1,500. So there you go.
It's quite a set.
That's quite a set. Now, I remember as a kid in high school, we had, if you were really one of the cool kids, you had a component stereo system in your bedroom, and you had a set of headphones, and you would sit there in the dark with your black light on or whatever, and those headphones had really big, huge, puffy things around your ears. They were really big. You remember those?
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure everyone in the audience probably does. But now there's every kind of description of headphones, earbuds. You can get the wireless ones where you sit across the room or walk around the house. You're not encumbered by anything. I have a set of Motorola. They're like earbuds, but they have a little band that connect them together, and they go like behind the back of your head, and the earbuds pop in, and it's Bluetooth, and I somehow ended up getting it with my last Sprint telephone, I think, which was before my iPhone. But they work really well. They're not very comfortable, though. I don't use them very often, even though they work very well and they sound incredible. They're not comfortable to wear. So,
Well, that comfort is an important part.
It is, and I'll tell you, probably for me, the time that I use headphones the most is at night when I am ready to go to bed. I want to listen to something as I'm dozing off, whether it's a podcast or a sermon or whatever it is I've chosen for that evening's listening pleasure. When I lay back on the pillow with that thing that goes behind your head, that's just impossible. There's no way you can even use them for that. And I've also found that if you do that with pricey earbuds, you end up mangling them. And so I go through an awful lot of earbuds from the dollar store. You go to the dollar store, you can pick up 5, 7, 8, 9, 10 little boxes. They got earbuds in there that work great for $1. And so what if you roll over on them and smash them? They're disposable at that price. So,
yeah, somebody I knew used to tell me, a very wise person, used to tell me, always buy the cheapest thing. Don't spend a lot. Always buy the cheapest thing. And I think that's based on the idea that in many cases the cheap stuff is really good, and that it's just there's just a lot of fluff and puff, and there are things that are better for more money, but a lot of times it works out just like as you're saying. It's like, hey, these are perfectly good, and I would be just wasting my money on anything else. So, we see that a lot.
well, after I rolled over and crushed a few expensive ones, I realized that, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. I'm not going to stop listening to stuff at night, so I have to find something that makes sense. And especially when you're listening to a podcast, which is spoken word, or if you're listening to a sermon or something of that nature, you don't need because you're not trying to hear, the cellist and the third chair from the right. You know what I'm saying? You're not listening for that. It's just some guy talking. And so the dollar ones work every bit as good as a more expensive one for that application. Okay. If somebody that really loves music and wants to hear the really pure notes and tones, then I'm sure these high dollar headphones, I don't want to say they're worth every penny, but they're whatever it's worth to you, that's what it's worth right there. If you pay $5,000 and you feel good about it and you really enjoy them and they make your life, bring quality to your life, then amen.
Yeah, no, actually, fair enough.
Well, David, I got the S&P up. If there's no other news you want to talk about,
I can't think of anything else right now. I don't want to go on a political rant. Yeah, I mean, it's just what it is, and we'll work through it. And it is interesting where we are in a number of these markets, but we can let's certainly begin with, if you'd like, with the S&P. Talk a little bit about where we are. You want me to jump right in, or?
Well, they caught the guy, maybe this isn't news, that created the virus, what's that thing called? U.S. authorities said Monday they've disrupted 2 sophisticated types of computer malware used to steal millions of dollars from people all over the world. The Game Over Zeus botnet, a network of virus-infected computers, targeted thousands of small businesses. And CryptoBlocker, a software that encrypts files on computers, was used to extract ransom payments from computer owners who wanted access to their files. Now, I've actually talked to people who they're using their computer, Windows, it happened on Windows computers, and a thing would pop up and it would say, your computer is infected, you've got a virus, your files are at risk, call this number. People would call that number, and the people would say, yep, right here, I got you, boom, 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 boom. And they could, because they had already gotten this virus onto your computer, they could like tell you things about your computer and your files that supposedly only, you know, Microsoft or somebody like that should even know. And they literally would hold you at ransom, and they would say, okay, well, we can fix it, but it's going to be $300. My mom got one of those calls.
Really? Huh.
Uh-huh. She did. And I said, Mom, don't pay them. Take it to a local computer shop. And, you know, they charged her some money, but it was a more reasonable sum of money, and they got rid of the thing. And she didn't lose any files, but she didn't have any important business files on that computer. I mean, if this thing gets into, like your business, David, if this thing were to somehow get into your, you know, computer system there, and you got some guy, you know, calling you up on the phone going, well, as you can see, we got you, and we want $400. Would you pay them?
Probably, if I had to get to that file, if that was really an important thing for me and they know what the important files are, I would pay to get it, but then I would take immediate action to, you know, to make sure that I get to a new computer or, you know, use something to, I don't know. I mean, it's, you know, that's one of the things that makes this so insidious is that it depends on what files they have and what they've grabbed. Right. But if it was really important to me, I probably, obviously begrudgingly would, and then I would go, you know, do everything I could to make sure that doesn't happen.
Just the thought that I'm giving my credit card number to this thug, right?
Yeah,
you know,
he's a thug.
My stuff back. You know, he's a thug. I'm giving him my credit card number. So as soon as we hang up the phone, I've got to call my credit card company and cancel that card because he just sold it to 5,000 other people.
Yeah, on top of charging you. Yeah.
Yeah. On top of charging you.
Well, yeah, and so it'd be interesting to see what the courts are doing with people like this because it's been pretty light sentences. I think when people start seeing that the punishment is, you know, a tremendous loss of freedom. See, that's the thing about people that, you know, they want people to be beaten, they want people to be this and that, but just taking people's freedom from them is a really, really powerful thing that once it's taken from you, you really recognize, you know, how difficult it is to live without it. And these computer guys have gotten off light for a long, long time. It's, you know, it's white-collar crime. You didn't hit anybody over the head. You didn't steal somebody's purse. You didn't push a woman to the ground. You didn't, all that stuff isn't there. There's no violence to it, but it is violent to extract from somebody their hard-earned money and hold them hostage to their own. Yeah, I consider that an act of violence. So they need to be, you know, they need the sentences need to be improved and increased to make them think twice about doing that.
I want to see if I can show you this guy's picture. He looks like the guy that would do this kind of thing. Yep, there it is right there.
Do they talk about what they're going to do with this guy? Oh, yeah, that really is, yeah.
Doesn't it look like him? He's a Russian guy.
Yeah, kind of like Uncle Fester.
Exactly. Yep.
I mean, all he needs is a light bulb in his mouth, and he's Uncle Fester to me.
Yep. He's wanted. So, you know, I thought they had caught him. They took out the computer malware, but I guess they still haven't got the guy.
Oh, okay.
Alias is Lucky12345. That's creative. Hair brown, usually shaves his head. Approximately 180 pounds. Okay. And it says that Game Over Zeus was responsible for more than $100 million in losses among U.S. victims. And then it says that right here, in the case of Game Over Zeus, one victim lost $6.9 million from a fraudulent wire transfer from a bank account. Victims' computers were most commonly infected when a user clicked on a link in an email that appeared to come from a trusted source. Victims of botnets often don't even know their computers are infected until they've suffered losses. You know, because we have so many people in our database, in our email database, I can always tell when somebody's gotten infected because their computer will start sending me these random, weird, oddball kind of emails, and I'll email them. I don't ever, click on anything in the emails, but I email that person right away, and I go, hey, man, check your computer. Something's wrong.